Friendship in Probability. When I was 20 years old, I read a book called Introduction to Stochastic Processes. Obviously, the book involves advanced mathematics. However, in addition to its elegant and well-structured style, it has also a short fable at the end of each chapter to relate the content with wisdom. That's unusual for a math book. Also, one chapter is entitled Potential. The concept of a potential is quite well known in physics, but appearing in a mathematics book is novel and caught me by surprise and fascinated me. After graduating from college, I did many other things, but that book lingered in my mind. So a few years later, I managed to become the author's student and started working on probability. Then, while I was studying with him on probability, I came to know it can be applied to finance. So I found a job after graduation on Wall Street, and since then has done that for more than 20 years. So I can really say every day my work has something to do with that book. So I think that book changed my life. One day, while I was working for Morgan Stanley in London, our chief officer, Keiichi Hatsuki, went to London on a business trip and invited us to a dinner. In the dinner, he said, "Instead of me boasting for the whole evening, each of you say something that happened around your 20 and that has changed your life." So people started talking. One said when he was 18 years old, he worked at a McDonald's and suffered so much that he decided to go to college and change fate. It has been a smooth sailing ever since. Another said that her parents divorced when she was 17, so she worked hard to get into college, and it has been a smooth sailing ever since. And then it is my turn. I told him about the stochastic process book. Keiichi liked it as he mentioned it later on a few occasions. And a few people even asked me about that book. The book is by Erhan Cinlar, a professor at Princeton. He was the founding chairman of a Department of Operations Research and Financial Engineering, though he is not so interested in finance. Still, I mentioned the story, including my original one and the following CRO episode when I visited Erhan one day. He was quite happy. That happened at the Small World coffee shop on Witherspoon Street in Princeton. When I just moved back to US from England, Erhan was older and had more gray hair. I brought him 2 nicely packaged boxes of English tea, thinking he might like it, being from a Turkish aristocrat family. Also, because I believe he is like an aristocrat, some style. And he treated this with a book with me. Uncertainty, Einstein, Heisenberg, Bohr, and the Obsession of the Spirit of Science by David Lindley. Erhan explained, I walked from the department and past the university bookstore on the way. Every time I walk there, I always find it irresistible to look through the used book there, and then buy a book to read here while drinking coffee. I said I also had that habit. There were many small bookstores in London, I always find it irresistible to see what books they have there. Sometimes people put out some old books on the roadside. I also could not help to stop to see if there are any treasures. I'm not sure if I was the first Chinese student of Erhan, but he certainly has an unusual friendship with outstanding Chinese probabilist Kelly Chuang. On June the 2nd, 2009, Erhan had a Chinese female student come to his office to do a summer project with him. Erhan asked her if she had heard of Kelly Chuang, and the student said no. Erhan froze for a moment and said, "Strange, he told me that he's quite famous in China." Erhan asked her again later that day, "You never heard of Kelly Chuang?" She shook her head again. Then Erhan said, "Oh, Chuang passed away yesterday. I have known him for more than 40 years. Erhan did not appear particularly sad, but was silent for a few seconds, and then began to assign her tasks related to the research. That morning, Chuang's son told Erhan that Kelly had passed away. As I later know, Erhan and the world's top probability theory master, Kelly Chuang, have cooperated for 40 years. Kelly is a super smart guy, but as smart people usually are, he doesn't always behave in a usual style. After Kelly went to study in the United States, he studied under John Tukey and Harold Kramer. We will talk about Kramer later, but it is said that Tukey once used a red pen to mark out the grammatical errors that Kelly's thesis one by one. Kelly went to the library to find all the books of John Tukey and marked all the grammatical errors in them with a red pen. Kelly Chuang and Erhan co-founded a series of workshops on difficult problems in probability theory at different universities and edited many academic papers in their journals. I know a story that was a laugh. A workshop was held on a Tuesday afternoon at Stanford University, where Chuang is a professor. Erhan told Kelly, "Stanford had a statistic workshop on Tuesday afternoon, and many statisticians definitely want to come to both conferences. You might as well change the time." Kelly clapped his hands and said with a smile, "I did it on purpose. Schedule it exactly at this time, so all the statisticians cannot come to our workshop. I hate statisticians." As to Erhan, his probability theory course is one of the most difficult courses, but he is the most popular professor on campus because he is humorous and he prepared the course well. He always wears neatly and writes on the blackboard with a beautiful calligraphy. At the beginning, students who were used to writing on the PowerPoint blackboard complained that the cursive calligraphy is difficult to understand. But gradually they learned to enjoy, and everyone was moved by the humor of this short Turkish old man. When I was at Princeton, our department was called the Department of Operation Research and Civil Engineering. because operations research is too small to be a department of its own, and several professors' research are related to transportation and logistics. Then financial engineering became quite needed on Wall Street, and there were sponsors who were willing to contribute. Erhan was the chairman and helped build the Department of Operations Research and Financial Engineering. They moved into a separate new building. Erhan and I walked after the coffee shop and took 2 photos in front of the entrance of the coffee shop in the background, and the other one with the background of the best French restaurant in Princeton called Le Harris, also as I can pronounce. Why so? It has something to do with Calais. In 1945, Calais received the Boxer Indemnity Scholarship to study in the United States at Princeton University for a doctorate. On his first day there, he thought, "Today is my first day in an American campus, and I must have a big meal at the best restaurant in town." Thus, he dragged his luggage from the train station all the way to the best French restaurant in Princeton, Le Harris. He has so many bags and is dusty and unkempt, so it took some time to be allowed into the restaurant. The idea at the restaurant is a godsend because he recognized one of the diners as Harold Kramer. Kramer was the number 1 person in the world in the field of probability and statistics at the time. He was a visiting scholar from Stockholm University and had only been in Princeton for a few days. Calais ran to Kramer, introduced himself, and had a meal together. After the meal, Kramer became Calais' doctoral supervisor. Or at least one of them. As we mentioned, the other is Tukey. Kramer only stayed at Princeton for 2 years. After that, Calais received his PhD, and Kramer returned to Stockholm University. Erhan and I walked back to the department. The most beautiful building, as he said, is a modern building. One side of the indoor patio wall is a 3-story decoration with oriental patterns. Probably Erhan's favorite. Many students working there are Chinese. I said to Erhan, "Chinese still work hard." Erhan said that they had nothing to do anyway. We laughed together. Erhan came to the United States in 1959 and went to the University of Michigan. He obtained a bachelor's degree in 1963, a master's degree in 1964, and a doctorate in 1965. 1 degree a year, who can do that today? As we talked, I said I wanted to write a popular book on probability theory, so he took out a few and gave me some suggestions. Also, he gave me a copy of his new book, Real and Convex Analysis, with handwriting. For your enjoyment, I was about to leave. Erhan asked if I needed something more. I said I have got a few books and that's enough. Erhan said, "I will give you another one." And as he said, he took out a small diamond-like stuff from his drawer. He said, "Here you are, a 20-sided dice. You can do simulation now with it manually." That's the end of the story.